What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Behind the Tune with me, Matt. I am a tech and the tuner at Middleton Motorsports. We have a beautiful spring day here today at the shop, and behind me, see I've got a 2020 GT500 up on the dyno. So we're going to do a couple more pulls on this thing. I've done about 4 so far, getting it dialed in for some road race use. If you go back a couple episodes on our channel, there was a white one with the same color accents on it, and that is this guy's dad. So we got a father-son duo here with both of them having 2020 500s that we did at an MM800 package to. So just like the other car, JLT cold air, VMP cooler and lid, thermostat, 160-degree thermostat. Both these cars both had 2.9 pulleys on them. These cars are running on pump gas, 2-inch headers, 3-inch X-pipe to the stock mufflers. So we're retaining the valves on those stock mufflers. And obviously this is an R, just like the other one. So this one has Steeda springs on it, and it's got a bunch of BMR goodies on the rear, toe links, camber arms, diff bushing lockouts, and cradle lockouts. So where we're at so far, we're a little short versus the other one because this car we have road race slicks on it, and I don't always like to dyno with road race slicks, but this is what we had on the car. We installed them when we got done doing all the suspension work, so we are going to dyno it with the slicks on it, and I have been dynoing it with slicks on it. So in my experience, I've been dynoing cars for just about 20 years now. Anything sticky like a slick where there's just no tread at all, no siping, and you got a really sticky compound, usually you'll rob 10 to 20 horsepower depending on the compound. So these are Hoosier R7s, so they're one of the harder compounds, kind of like a medium hard compound. So they don't rob quite as much, but they are going to rob about 10 wheel. So that's why we're seeing just shy 800. If we put the Cup 2 tires that come on these things stock, we'd probably be seeing about 805 to 810. So just about 800 horsepower. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do 1 or 2 more pulls on this. I pretty much got everything dialed in on it. This car also wasn't taking quite as much timing, and I can kind of show you guys in the log, as some of the other 800 packages we do. Depending on the fuel, so when we're running pump gas, and I probably talked about this on the channel before, depending on the fuel that we run on these things, 91 to 93, and even some of the 93 is questionable. So we filled it up at a local, one of the local chains, big chain, national chain that has 93 E10 supposedly, and just not very good. I'm kind of short on timing on it. That's another reason it's kind of wavering around a little bit up at the top. So obviously I got to tune it to that fuel. That's what they said they run. They usually get their fuel from those stores. So we went over there and filled the vehicle up with that fuel, and that's what I'm tuning it to. So normally on this package I'm at 19 degrees of timing. This car 17, 18. So I'm a little short on the timing too. It's a little warmer today than some of the other packages I've done in the past couple 3 months. We're finally starting to see some 70 to 80 degree temperatures, you know, here in April in Wisconsin. So blower's running a smidge hotter than what it would have when it's, 40, 50 degrees out in the shops, doors open 50 degrees. So, but I'm still happy with what I'm seeing here. So I'm gonna set the camera back down, and I'm gonna spin this up one more time, at least one more time. I'll get the final one on video here, and then we can go back over cleaning this up a little bit, just trimming this a little bit with the timing. I got the fueling on this run pretty much dead on. But the timing up here, you can kind of see a little dippage. Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. I had to play with the borderline tables a little bit just to kind of smooth everything out with what the knock sensors were doing. But the curve, again, for pump gas, the curve looks really nice. We're turning this out to 8,300. Yeah, so far so good with what we got. So let's spin this up one more time and see where we end up. All right, guys, final pull there. Let's go check it out. So we hit our mark, just barely. But again, with the road race slicks being on there, it's going to read a little lower than we typically would see. So right at 800, again, this is our 800 package. And that run was about, from the red to, that run was about 10 degrees cooler on the manifold temperature. I always bring the oil and coolant temperatures up to the exact same every run I do. I always want to see, for the cylinder head temp on a Ford, because we got cylinder head temp and coolant temp on these cars, I always want to be in, so on our thermostats, obviously we run cooler than stock. So typically I try to get these cars to run right around 185 to 190 on the head temp and right around 180 on the coolant temp. That's kind of what I want to see on the dyno. For street use, when they're driving around the street, that's typically what you'll see. So yeah, that's looking really good, again, for a slick on the dyno roller. So yeah, we can take a look at the data log. Jump in the car here, and I'm gonna bring my computer up in my lap here so I know some of these runs here have been trying to get rid of this glare. All right, so what I was talking about earlier in the video with the timing on this car, so you can see the timing line here is kind of sawing a little bit, and that's the knock sensors kind of doing their job. Obviously, I just flashed a tune-in, so the HDFX system is kind of working. It will learn probably into like these lower portions, like 18, 17, but you can see where I was talking about that up on the top end, 18, there just at the very tippy top, 19, but back down to 17. So it's kind of sawing. The HDFX system will probably settle in about 17 on this car. So you can see here it was adding some timing and then it was dropping a degree. I set these up. Ford from the factory will allow the HDFX system add up to 6 degrees and take away up to 10. So on the higher loads, because I know they're going to run good fuel in this thing and I know what fuel they're going to run, so I will push the borderline timing up a little further than stock, but then not allow the system to add more than just a degree, just because I've done enough of these. So you can see here it was adding that degree. If somebody wants to do like, hey, sometimes I'm going to run race gas, sometimes I'm going to run pump gas, I'll pull more out of the borderline or have more pulled out of the borderline and just let it do its thing. So then if they do put higher octane fuel, it will learn up further up towards the MBT timing. But in this case, these guys just run pump gas. They're always just running 93 octane. They don't, these guys don't want to mess around with different fuels and stuff. They're just always getting it from the same station. So it's very consistent. So I can tune it that way. So boost on this, we're seeing, I think that's probably about 13, 14 degrees. Pretty typical for this setup on a 2.9 pulley and the big headers. Yeah, but everything else is looking really good. Air fuel, I dial these things in on pump gas. I dial them in pretty rich, 0.78 lambda is what I'm targeting. And you can see my fuel trims are right down here. If you're looking at these short terms, I try to nail these down really close. And you can see as I scroll across here, 0, 8, 1, yeah, so you can see they're just hovering right about 0. Just a couple percent plus or minus. Obviously, so different from like a GM, these cars run, they have factory wide bands and they run closed loop fueling all the time. Wide open throttle, cruising, whenever. So when you go into a power enrichment setup, they no longer, well, it will add or subtract on the short terms, but again, after I load a tune in, it zeroes out the long terms and it just will feed off the short terms. But this probably won't trim any fuel into the long terms at all, maybe 1 or 2%, but I try to nail these within, I really like to be within 2%. If I see a 3%, like a little blip here and there, I'm okay with that, but I really try to keep the fueling very tight to where I'm commanding on these. So just because, again, road race use, I want, and just in general, I like having my tuning, spot on. So yeah, so this is looking really good. That'll wrap it up for this car. These guys are going racing next weekend. We'll be in Texas, so we're not going to be on track with these guys. We'll be at a different track. We're going to Circuit of the Americas. Me, Chuck, and Jim, those guys are going to have their Porsches down there, and I'm going to have my blue 500, and we're going to see what we can do, kind of damage we can do down there. So this car will be at Road America, along with a bunch of other customers that you've seen up on the dyno. This one, the white one, the matte black one with the white stripes, the red Camaro I did. All those guys are going to a track day up at Road America, and they're going to be cranking up there. So that'll wrap it up for this one, guys. I'm gonna jump out here. I'm gonna get this thing unstrapped, finish it up for the day, because I'm whooped. It's Monday and I'm working a 12-hour day here. So I'll give you guys one more look at the dyno here, just so you can kind of see that. Keep tuned for more videos on this channel and Instagram, Facebook, and check out our website if you guys want to see what we, more information on our packages, our 700 package, our 800 package, and 900 package like I have, and some of the other cars I've done on E85. But that'll wrap it up for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.